I'm Ian Henschke, Chief Advocate with National Seniors Australia, and I'm talking to Brenton Miegel because Brenton has written this. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Now, Brenton, you've worked as a financial advisor and planner for how long?
About 25 years, Ian.
And these are all the questions that have come through over that time.
Look, that's a sample of lots of questions that people ask, but I've sort of simplified it down to what I think are some of the most important questions.
Well, let's start with probably the most important of all for people that are heading towards retirement, and that is, when can I get a pension?
So from an age pension point of view, age 67 for most people after the 1st of July 2023.
Okay, so you've got to be 67 and that kicks in on the 1st of July 2023.
Correct.
Now, do you have to be an Australian citizen?
Don't have to be a citizen, but you need to have been an Australian resident for at least 10 years before you're eligible for the age pension.
Okay.
So it's an important distinction. You can have been a resident for 30 or 40 years, but not necessarily a citizen. So it's the residency that's important.
All right. Now, there used to be different rates for men and women, because I can remember women were able to get a pension when they were 60 and men it was 65.
Yep.
Is it still the same?
No, they've changed. The rules have changed over time that it's going to be 67 for everybody after that 1st of July date.
All right. So now the other thing that you often hear about is that there's a thing called the assets test.
Yep.
And this is where it really starts getting complicated. And then there's the income test.
Yep.
And you have to meet the assets test. I've just spelt that with a double T. Assets test or income test. Now, what do they mean?
So the asset test is where Centrelink look at what investments have I got in the bank, my car, my contents, superannuation, income streams, shares and all that sort of stuff. Your home is excluded. That's a really important distinction.
Okay, so your home could be worth $1 million.
Yeah.
A lot of houses are these days.
Yep.
So it's not included.
Yep.
Okay, but your super, if you have $1 million in super as a couple.
So that counts as an asset.
Yeah.
And then the income test, Centrelink deem the income. So that's an assumed rate of earning. Let's use 2.25%.
Right.
So it might be, if you've got an income stream, you might be getting a 4% or a 5% drawdown, but income test wise for Centrelink, they're only counting it at 2.25%. So they're only deeming it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that means that it can actually work in your favour, particularly if you've got assets below the upper asset test threshold and a modest level of income. All of a sudden you could be getting half the age pension rather than the full age pension, but it's designed to complement.
All right, let's look at this situation, and this has come up in the questions here, and that is, I'm still eligible for a pension because I'm 65 or 67 in this case now that we've reached that.
Yep.
One of the questions was, but my partner is still working.
Yep.
What happens then?
So what happens then is that from a Centrelink point of view, the younger person's superannuation is exempt for asset test purposes, but if they're still working, from an income test perspective, their income will count, the gross income, not the net income.
Okay, and if they were earning, like, let's say they were earning $90,000 a year, and is that before tax or after tax?
Yeah, it'll be before tax.
So $90,000 before tax.
Yep. And for a single person, that would definitely exclude them. And for a couple, you would be right on the threshold from an income test perspective. So it could be that you're 67, partner's 60, working and earning $90,000 a year, but the 67-year-old doesn't get any age pension.
And what about the assets? How much can you have before a couple loses the full pension?
Yep. So at the moment, about $930,000, but that's indexed twice a year in March and in September.
Right. So there you go. You can see that this is quite complex. It's almost like there's no such thing as a simple answer,
Absolutely.
Is there? But look, I just want to say thank you, Brenton, for taking us through that. And if you want to find out more, then go to the National Seniors website, look at our Money Hub, and become a subscriber to our Connect newsletter, because we tell you all this information when it changes. As Brenton said, these figures change all the time,
They do.
Especially with inflation at 7%. But look, it's been wonderful. Let's talk again and ask some more not so dumb questions.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, Ian.